Welcome to the 2020 New Testament Challenge. Today we're in Luke chapter 18. Here in chapter 18, we have a parable. It's actually a story of contrasts. The contrast between an unjust judge and our Heavenly Father. Why did Jesus give this parable? He tells us exactly why in verse 1. This parable was given so that we would know that we are to pray and never give up. Pray and don't quit. In verse 2, there's an unjust judge. He didn't revere God, didn't honor him, and he didn't care about men. Then in verse 3, we find of a woman who was a widow, and she had a problem, and the judge was her only hope. And she continued to come again and again and again, seeking justice, even though she was put away many different times. In verse 5, we read that this judge was going to give her justice, not because of her case, but because this woman was bothering him. It was as though she was giving him a black eye. She was making a scene. She wouldn't quit. She kept coming back again and again and again. And he said, she's going to wear me out. So that's the only reason why this widow was going to get justice. In verse 7, we read that Jesus is saying, will not God give justice to his chosen ones as they cry out and not give up, as they cry out day and night? Here's the contrast. This unjust judge didn't revere God and didn't care about men. Jesus cares for you and I, and he longs to answer our prayers. But Jesus asked the question in verse 8, when Jesus comes, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith? The question is, will we be found continuing to trust him, relying upon him, not quitting, or will we collapse in giving up and ceasing to pray? Why was this parable given? Again, to show that we should pray and not give up. What have you been praying for? God does not want you to quit. What have you been relying upon him for? God does not want you to give up. When we're praying, we're trusting in God's time and that his will would be done. We're relying upon his goodness, that he will do just what is right at the right time. So let's continue to pray and never, ever give up. Thank you for joining the 2020 New Testament Challenge.